up against abuse. Abuse of the judicial system, abuse of authority, and abuse of one's existence. Your Honor, what I'm about to talk about may be uncomfortable for the court to hear. But it is vital to my case that I speak up about a difficult topic. It will help the court understand my position and why my actions have not been as favorable as favorable as I am capable of and I'm deserving of the court. This is far more than a mere unlawful detainer case. In fact, this is the wrong type of lawsuit. This is a property dispute, Your Honor. This is not an unlawful detainer, a simple unlawful detainer action. There is no landlord-tenant relationship here. I do not pay the Capital Blue rent. I am not a renter. I am, Your Honor, in fact, the equitable owner. I have an equitable interest, and I'm in fact the beneficial owner to the property, to the subject property. This is far more than a rental dispute. The truth of the matter is, this is about retaliation, deception, coercive control, a lifetime of abuse, silence, and the plaintiff is using the law to further silence me from exposing the truth and exposing the plaintiff for who and what he truly is. He is my abuser, Your Honor. He is my father. At a young age, my father, I have been abused by the hands of my father. I have been forced into silence to protect my abuser, to live in shame, and to keep his disgusting secrets, all at the detriment to my overall well-being. My father conditioned me of abuse that my father did to me, and how my mother I can only assume enabled this is abuse of authority, abuse of the judicial system, and his attempts to coercively control me in sinister ways through manipulating my elderly mother, who, Your Honor, has a 6th grade education. She speaks broken English, and she has no concept of difficult subjects. She is very trusting, very gullible, and what my dad did with this trust, he used it to alienate my mother from me. My mother lives in Arizona on the San Carlos Apache Reservation. My mother is a survivor to the Indian boarding schools. The U.S. government implemented on Indian peoples was to remove all of the children in the United States, to take them from their families, from their homes, from their culture, and to place them hundreds of miles away in these state-operated boarding schools from ages as early as 2 to 3 years old, and keep them up until they're 18, and forbidding them to use their native tongue, their language, their traditions, their culture, their spirituality, their religion practices, any ceremonies. They cut their hair, change their clothes, change their names, and taught them to be ashamed to be Indians. This had a ripple effect on generations that follow. I am an 8th generation descendant to the violent boarding schools. This is relevant to my case, Your Honor, because my house, the property the subject of the property that we're talking about, was purchased with the federal grant that's intended for Indian peoples with children to buy a new home back in 1977. My mom has been the sole title owner of the property to my home since 1977 up until April 8th, 2025. With the help of my father, who only lived in a house from 1977 to 1982. He left my mother for a white woman with her own family. After he took out a $20,000 mortgage on the house, leaving my mother with 5 children, 2 of which are his biological children, me and my brother Donovan, not paying child support, He took this money to be with his new family in Arizona, leaving my mother in California. He removed her from her land, the only land she knows, which is Arizona, and bringing her to California and then leaving her. To just leaving her alone to raise the children, which she did by selling Indian jewelry at powwows throughout Southern California. That's how I spent my childhood. I have been abused and neglected my entire life, Your Honor. And at the worst times of my life, that is when my father struck the hardest. When I'm at my weakest and when I'm vulnerable. My father, I became the beneficial owner in 2005 of my property. That was when my mother moved back to Arizona to the reservation after the tribe had built her a brand new home. So my mother entrusted the house to my brother and myself in 2005. That is the same year my husband was convicted of his second felony and sentenced to prison. My mom intended the house always to be for the children, for her children, her children's children, and their children. My right now, my house, there's 3 generations in my house, but it's a 4-generational home. Oh my God, I'm talking all over here. I have paid off the mortgage. I paid up the property taxes up until the last 5 years. When my life became my life was chaotic and out of control. Back in 2019, I removed my ex-husband from my home after 22 years of domestic violence. The worst type of abuse imaginable. My mother held the title in trust for me since 2005. My brother, who lived with me, he had no children and he had no interest in the home. And my brother, Vernon, passed away in the home in his sleep on September 17, 2012. And I continued to pay the mortgage and I paid it off. I have been harassed, ridiculed, and had an illegal eviction by the representative who claimed to be the new owner, as stated in the 60-day notice. He continued to harass me. He came to my property telling me that, trying to claim rights. He wanted me to leave my property upon his demand. I have lived in my property since 1977. This was my childhood home since age 7. My children's childhood home and my grandchildren's childhood home. The audacity to demand possession of my house without any court orders upon just meeting this man. He was a total stranger to me. And he called the police on me to have me removed from my own property. Then he claims to be the new owner, according to the 60-day notice, which he did not give to me personally. I was not properly served the 60-day notice or the unlawful detainer. And there's a lot of ambiguity in both legal documents. The owner changed from the 60-day notice to be Regis Bernardo. He's a local realtor that flips houses. In fact, he has my house on his Facebook page as a flip opportunity, and that my house is being sold out of market or under market or something. It's highly suspicious. My case is about elder abuse. It is about retaliation for speaking up, intimidation to force me into silence. He has threatened my home. My father convinced my mother to sell my home. He turned her against me to sell my home. I had to mourn my son's death alone because of 2 controllers in my life. My father and my husband of 22 years. My husband turned my children against me and any friends that I may have had during our marriage. And my father turned my mother against me and my brother. And I'm assuming my brother, because I haven't, my mother and my brother against me. And he convinced her to sell my house. He played dual roles. He helped her, the seller, sell my house, and he, as Capital Blue, purchased my house for under the market value. Similar houses in my neighborhood on my road range their value, according to Zillow, from $338,000 up into $444,000. And these are 3-bedroom houses. The 441 is on my same street. Then my father proceeded to take a loan out for $200,000 from Capital One, renegotiated the price of my house to $150,000 to suit his own best interest. My mother is elderly. My mother's very sick. My mother's on hospice. The fact that she would want to even consider selling the house that is intended for future generations for more than half of what it's worth, for less than half of its value, its fair market value, is ludicrous. And then my father proceeds to hide behind this LLC that he created. And he uses his real estate friend, Regis. This is about elder abuse. It is about retaliation. This is about using the legal system to hide child sexual abuse perpetrated by my father, who is registered with Megan's Law and has served time as a child abuser, a pedophiler. And he's registered. He has to register as a pedophiler. My father wanted to come live on the property. My daughter, who is now married, has her husband's brother. He adopted his husband. Her husband adopted his brother when the husband was only 19 after their mother died. So my daughter you don't need luck. You got this. Be back tomorrow. Be back. Be back. And my dad wanted to come and live on the property, which he has in the past. And my daughter told him that no, he cannot. Because she did not want to jeopardize, because he is a registered sex offender. And so my dad, in retaliation, tried to threaten my daughter, my co-defendant, with a bogus 60-day to vacate. Which was totally done in his writing. My son who passed away, I've been alienated from them, and my dad is the reason why. My dad has continued to wreak havoc in my life. My daughter was an emergency foster care parent to my grandsons. She took my grandsons. She got the approval to take my grandsons to Arizona to see my mom after both their parents died, to see my mom on her birthday in 2021. My dad happened to show up at my mother's house long enough for a photograph with the boys, which my daughter regrettably posted on Facebook. And this led to her losing custody of the boys and the alienation which resulted. My father not caring whatsoever. Because a year after this, he tries to come and live on my property where children reside. So he is strictly retaliating against my daughter. And my daughter, who my dad is very selfish. She has stage 3 kidney failure. She's a new mother. She loves her grandfather, but she's not about to break the law for her grandfather. And he has chose to retaliate against my daughter and against me by turning my mother against us. And convincing my mother to renege on our agreement, which has our 20-year agreement, for her to keep my property in trust. My mom abandoned the property in 2005 because she gave the property to me. And she held the property in trust, not to evade the law, but to protect me from my abusive ex-husband, who has ties to the Mexican mafia, who's a convicted murderer, convicted drug dealer, who, even through our divorce, I asserted my legal rights to my property in 2021 when I got a les pendants to protect my assets from my father, who he manipulates the most vulnerable people in their most vulnerable of times. My father is the reason why Your Honor, I had to deal with, I not only had to deal with process this information of repressed memories of being molested by my father. I am forced to defend myself. I'm forced to publicly defend myself. As I'm in real time, as I am before I have to defend my rights on a dark personal matter, which, in quite honesty, I still have yet to process. And I have to now speak of my personal business, which is critical to my case. My truth is critical to my case. The only way I can defend, the only way that I can defend what is rightfully mine is to publicly before I've even processed the layers of abuse and betrayal, I'm forced to deal with what my father did to me, and do something I've never done in my life, which would be to stand up to my father, who is my abuser. And I know through experience that standing up to an abuser, there's no limits to what they will do, the price that you will pay, they will place on you. The price is always high to pay when facing these abusers. And this I know from experience. My father has always my father has never loved me. And come to grips with the fact that my father never loved me. My father never loved me. He just tolerated me and used me for the validation I supplied him. And when confronted with his truths, when I was no longer validating him, he no longer validating him, he discarded me. and knowing he discarded me. And now the mental illness that he placed on me, I've been diagnosed with CPTSD, agoraphobia, complex grief, and ADHD. He helped to contribute my mental illness. And now he is using it to his advantage, knowing my severity, knowing the severity of my conditions. I was not able to confront my ex-husband in court, which resulted in him getting full custody of our daughter, full physical and legal custody of our daughter. The evidence I had against him was tremendous. But my fear of confronting the abuser, I was groomed at an early age to be the perfect victim. So speaking up is unfamiliar to me. And my father knows this very well. He is the one who put this fear in me. And this is the reason why I was set into world. My father set me up to have the life that I have. Your Honor, I'm married. I was naive. I was kind and caring and giving person. I was quiet. I was groomed to live the life I lived for my father's disgusting gratification. At an early age, I was young, naive, innocent, gullible, and clueless. In 1997, I married an ex-convict who was just released from prison for committing murder. Straight out of prison for committing murder. I had a house. I had an 8-year-old daughter. I was a single mom, 8-year-old daughter, and I had a lucrative career in something that I enjoyed very well. And I was managing a portrait studio. I was purchasing my own house. I had a car, I had a career. And my dad is using the legal system to intimidate me my dad's an ex-real estate agent. He is a former pool shark. He practices Buddhism, and he leads it like it's a cult. Oh God. Oh my God. He preys on the weak. He preys on the innocent, the naive, and the weak. He knows he can manipulate my mom, and he knows that he is using my empathetic heart and my love for him because he mistakenly believes that he still has power over me. He, Your Honor, got a little bit greedy. His retaliation, he wants to make me suffer and to make my daughter suffer for calling out his bullshit. Now he is jeopardizing my future, my stability, and to take what does not belong to him. I don't want the guilt of sending my own father, taking my own father to court. And having him possibly be indicted for his crimes. But then I remind myself, I am not responsible for his actions. I'm not responsible for his actions. I am merely defending myself, and all I'm doing is telling the truth. And unlike my father, am acting in the best interest of my own children. And my father has no concerns. He has no remorse for his actions. My mother's on hospice, and my mother's on hospice, and my biggest fear is that she will die alone. My father is profiting off of my mother. And that is why he chose the unlawful detainer. It is the quickest. He just wants this done quickly, Your Honor, because he got a balloon payment. Your Honor, I know this to be true, because my mother somebody mailed me a copy. My mailbox was blown up. Oh my God. There's been so much shitty stuff. I'm like, Your Honor, there is a balloon payment done on my property. He got a loan for $200,000, which he purchased the house for $150,000. Which there's a huge conflict of interest. He is hiding behind this unlawful detainer. He is hiding under this unlawful detainer. He is hiding behind this unlawful detainer. Because he is well aware of my disabilities, my limitations, and my dangerous history. And my dangerous ex-husband. He has destroyed many of lives. And he has no remorse. He has destroyed many lives. He took my sister when she was a child from the only home she's ever known in the reservation, and convinced my mother, who abandoned my sister, to just show up and take her from the only family that she's ever known and bring her to California, where she was not nurtured, she was not taken care of. But she was abused by my father. And my sister who will come from New Mexico to testify the abuse. He not only abused me, Your Honor, and by my speaking out, it gave the permission for others to speak out. My sister, he abused my daughter and my niece. He's destroyed the lives. He destroyed a part of them. But he did not prevent them from going. My daughter, who is a phlebotomist and pediatric nurse, and my niece, who is a registered nurse. They're married, they have children, and everything seems, their lives are well put together, but they are still haunted by the acts perpetrated against them at their most vulnerable times by a trusted adult who betrayed their trust. Just to satisfy for his own gratification, he destroyed people.